Hello.
Yes, we can hear you, Dr. Rakesh.
Eh, Yes, I request Jadhav madam, please continue.
Amrutkar sir, please start the program.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, sir. A very good afternoon to one and all. Honorable Speaker of today's webinar, Mr. Bhausai Patil, sir, Principal of KK Wagh College of Pharmacy, Dr. K.S. Jain, sir, Principal of KK Wagh Institute of Pharmacy, Dr. Ramesh Hirore, sir,
Sir,
H-
7424.
HODs of all departments,
Check
all
number
senior
एक
staff
के साथ.
members, my colleagues, and my dear students. I, Ms. Snehal Jadhav, Assistant Professor, Pharmaceutics, would like to welcome you all for today's webinar on clinical research, career opportunities for pharmacy professionals. Clinical research is an attractive industry for researchers in India because it forces tremendous
sir.
growth and job opportunities not only for trained medical, pharmaceutical, and paramedical professionals, but also for project management staff, regulatory authorities, government, and society at large. With the inflow of multinational players in Indian clinical research, the industry is poised to grow exponentially and open up new vistas of employment for large number of people. Thus, candidates can build their careers in the fields of contract research organizations, pharmaceutical industries, biotechnological companies, medical device companies, and many more. To explore, we have an eminent and experienced speaker with us, Mr. Bhausai Patil. So, to begin with the program, I would like to request our principal, Dr. K.S. Jain, sir, to deliver welcome speech. Sir, please.
Thank you, Snehal. And I welcome today's resource person, Honorable Bhausai Patil, who I know since I think from last more than 20 years. We worked almost 2 years together in the industry, and he joined after me. I think he did his graduation from Karad, and he was a very polite and a hard-working personality. And best part of the thing is, if you continue to work hard and if you continue to work with devotion, that will give you rise as well as stability. And this is a record I see. May the names might have changed, but he continued with the same organization. May his what you can say superiors might have changed. May the person who started thing might have quit from that, but he has continued. He started with core healthcare, where we worked together. We used to go in the morning together, almost 40, 45, 50 kilometers from Ahmedabad. We used to get up early in the morning, and then we used to go through all that ordeal. That was another very great experience. We used to go through security, and then we used to work, but we learned many things there. So many things we learned, and everybody was enthusiastic and hardworking. And slowly, our head, he got the idea of clinical research. He always had so many ideas. Like he had 3-4 projects going on. I was looking after the research R&D project. He wanted to start a R&D lab. There was another Satish Kulkarni who was looking after the blood products, like the you can say plasma, as well as separating everything. And for that, he had sent him to Switzerland. Even the Christian factor, everything. Another was the analytical laboratory. Mr. Kamble was there, and when Verma was there, they were looking for that. And then suddenly this clinical thing came. I still remember those guests were welcomed at the commerce near opposite Gujarat College. There was some hotel. We had dinner with them. Then one bungalow was hired, then another bungalow was hired somewhere at Satellite at Sundarban. And this is how Core Quintels took birth. It was a clinical research company. it was sourcing all the data from India, and these people were actually the link between the doctors and the company. That company was involved in clinical trials, and they had clients which were multinational companies for new drug discovery. And so the clinical trials used to be done at Indian hospitals in metro cities and other places. And these people used to collect the data and they used to pass on to Quintels. Quintels is a big name, and so is the other company which has now joined with Quintels. So it is now IQ VIA, that is the name of the new company. And the first two names are with those their first letters. And I have seen, and I will also like to remind Bhausaheb about Kamlesh Gandhi. He is happily settled in Canada. We are in touch. He was my student actually. I taught him, and now he has really prospered. He has his own departmental store, and he's really doing well. And I think everybody is doing well. Whosoever worked hard. So this is the beauty of pharma world. Whosoever starts at a very, very small level, but if he has conviction and if he works hard, nothing can stop him. And here we have another example of Bhausaheb Patel, who is now Senior Director, Quality Management, Operational Transformation and Performance and Research Development Solutions, based at UK. One fine afternoon, he suddenly called me and we talked, and I was pleasantly surprised also to receive a call from him. And this is how the contact was established. That time also I had thought. Then he also, I think, joined with his ex-principal, Bisesar, who was my colleague for a year or so in Siaghad. And then I think with Nagavi sir also, he had some, I used to get the invites. He is speaking on so many things. He has also talked on the coronavirus and the COVID also. He's well informed, and his information is first hand, actual practical, because he has got all clinical data, access to clinical data. And I am very much excited to hear what exactly now he's doing and what exactly are his views. And our students, we are just having these students in final year, first batch is going to come out. And these people are now going to enter in the professional world. And these people are now looking for newer avenues. And one of these avenues is clinical research. Last year we had my another friend, Dr. Shiv Prakash from Ahmedabad of Synchron. And we had a very nice lecture from him also. And I have seen him also, how he started his own company, and today it has crossed more than 450 crores. And Quintels is much, much bigger. And so without wasting much time, I once again welcome Bhausaheb, and I will now request Snehal to continue with the further program. And before that, I will definitely like to tell him something about our Kekewag Education Society. Our chief patron is Honorable Balasaheb Wagh sir, who is 90 years old. He has, his father's name has been given, was a Padma Shri, and that time he had done a lot of hard work for the cause of rural education, particularly to the girls. And he was also on the body of some sugar mills, but he started with whatever they used to, a small percentage from that income. He started schools in this Nasik area, and then they prospered. They turned out into quality schools, and then they started this institution at Amrut Dham. This is this campus. We have totally 9 campuses. This campus is the head office, which is in a green, lush 22 acres land. This was gifted by one very philanthropist, Kutchi person, Gujarati Kutchi person, Kakubai Udeshi. And that time people were so lion-hearted. His son is on our board of management as a trustee, and he is also an ardent. He takes ardent interest in the academic this thing. Today, this society has prospered to 36, 37 units spread over 9 campuses, and we have a very, very renowned engineering college with 1100 intake from BE to PhD. We have MBA, MCA also in that college. We have a polytechnic with more than 950 intake, which is also renowned. These have been awarded platinum category in national ranking. There are many of their specializations or their courses have been accredited. They also received NAC A grade, and they are going for autonomy. And in between such two big colleges, we are situated. We have also a diploma in pharmacy situated almost 20 kilometers from this place at Chandori, Nifad Taluka in Nasik district only. And I'm very happy to tell that from this academic year, we are starting one more diploma within our degree college. We have got permission. I'm happy to share with our students also with 16 intake. We have 5 specializations in agriculture. I think it's unique, nowhere in Maharashtra. Then we have performing arts, fine arts, and now we have received a recognition for other liberal arts like sculpture and other things recently. We have nursing, we have B.Ed, we have arts, science, commerce colleges, schools, and the list is quite big. And KK Wag is now in the 51th year. We have finished our Golden Jubilee last year. It's a very renowned brand name for quality education. And we are, this pandemic, we are equipped with all the latest ICT tools. And I'm very happy to share that almost our staff has finished all the PCI syllabus from first year to final year, theory practicals. They have converted them into video lectures, and these have been uploaded on YouTube. And this is a unique thing. We are also now uploading on Udemy. We are using advanced systems for teaching learning. And during this pandemic and even last year's pandemic, we continued our teaching learning uninterrupted. And we are striving, and we are always also focusing on the students' overall development in the soft skill, providing them other co-curricular and extracurricular activities. Of course, extracurricular now, because of this pandemic, students last year came only for 23 days. This year, I don't foresee another 1 month they will come. But we are hosting so many of these programs. Last year, we hosted almost 33 programs. Now also yours is the 8th program. And the students get enriched and they understand what is happening in the world. And so I hand over this with a brief introduction. And we are always encouraged with our to go ahead with by our Honorable President, as well as our trustee Samir Dada and our Honorable Secretary Bandhi sir, and all other our trustees. So thank you very much. And once again, I give a warm welcome to my dear friend Bhav Sahib, and I request Nihal to continue the program further. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Further, I would like to request you to virtually felicit our today's speaker, Mr. Bhausaheb Patil, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, I would like to request our Professor V.N. Tambe, madam, to introduce Mr. Bhausaheb Patil, sir.
Thank you, madam. Good afternoon, all. I am Assistant Professor Varsha Tambe. I am here to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Bhausaheb Patil, sir. He is Senior Director in Quality Management, Operational Transformation and Performance Research and Development Solutions, IQVIA Limited, UK. Sir has completed his B.Pharm in 1994 from Shivaji University. Then he pursued M.Pharm from a very renowned Birla Institute of Technology. After completion of post-graduation in pharmaceutical sciences in 1996, he received an excellent opportunity to enter a field of clinical research in India, when the international clinical research was just building up and taking a pace. His career journey in clinical research started from a local clinical trial assistant and now has reached to a global role. He has worked in variety of functions such as clinical monitoring, clinical operations, project management, financial management, resource management, quality management, and risk-based monitoring approach. He also served as global head and senior director in clinical site monitoring quality management at IQVIA. Currently, he is working as a senior director clinical quality management in UK from November 2017. With this brief introduction, now I would like to request Mr. Bhausad Patil sir to begin with his talk. Please, sir.
Hello, I am just sharing my screen, and before I begin, I want to check two things. Is my voice audible? And can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, your voice is audible and we can see your screen, but your voice is a little bit low.
Okay. Is it better now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll speak closer to the microphone. First of all, thank you very much, everyone, Dr. Jain, my friend, my colleague, and my thinking partner. And also, I think all those now, I'm just trying to recollect the names, Dr. Rakesh, and a few others. So thank you so much for this opportunity, and really very happy to see the college, the campus, and can't sort of wait to see that in person if there is an opportunity. But I think here we are, and thank you for all those kind words, Dr. Jain. I'm just looking at the watch. I'm happy to sort of continue, but before I begin, Dr. Jain or Dr. Rakesh, can you tell me how much time I have for my speech, just to make sure I make best use of your time as well as my time? So should I plan for an hour or a bit more? And I'm happy to sort of adjust the speech. Dr. Rakesh?
Yes, sir, for one hour and 1.5 hours.
All right, good. So let's go ahead. And usually, typically I have probably conducted more than sort of 100 on-site workshops. And when I say workshop, usually I don't speak with loads of slides, but I just speak whatever comes to my mind. So much of my talk is going to be an extemporaneous preparation. And believe me, I started putting the slides together, waking up in the morning. I was at the High Commission of India, London last night for some of this charity work. You will see, my house has close to 4-ton COVID relief material, which is going to Maharashtra in just a couple of days. We already have one shipment just landed last week, another just today morning. And I think that's sort of that additional social work I end up doing. So I didn't get much time to put all these slides together. Hopefully you will like it. Those who are interested, I'm happy to continue this dialogue. So if you like my speech, if you like what I speak, happy to continue sort of further sessions in future. I do that, and I have to say, this month, this year, I have conducted close to 13 or 14 sort of seminars, not just for India, but some of the charity organizations in the UK to bring awareness about COVID. So scan this, my LinkedIn profile. Feel free to connect and share your views. Before I go ahead, the thoughts and ideas which I would like to present in this presentation, they are on my own, not necessarily, I'm speaking on behalf of company. And this is just a disclaimer because, otherwise I need to take sort of a formal permission from the company. But at the same time, these are some real ground reality I want to present with some data and also, answer your questions. So, I think I was just chatting with Dr. Engineer, before I start, and clinical research field is very, very fascinating. If you're passionate about it, I think sky is the limit. And in that respect, I think Dr. Jain, as you may have heard, initially we were just chatting. I come from a small village in the state of Maharashtra, in Satara district, and even in that small village, literally. I studied, below the trees, not having proper schoolings, and I think, sort of, my father was a teacher, and you can imagine probably like three children of a teacher, with limited earning, have gone through that all hardships. So, and at the same time, I don't want to thank them, my in-laws, for giving me, my life partner and who had supported me and my extended family, all my respected teachers, my friends, like including Dr. Jain. And there are three specific individuals I want to call it out. You will see because of them I'm here today. Dr. Fazan, engineer, who is the former CEO of Quintiles and now IQVIA. And now he's the founder and chairman of Site Care Group of Hospitals in Bangalore. Dr. Nargis, she's the ex-president of Quintiles, and they are sort of the pioneers in this, developing clinical research in India, not just for Quintiles, but another person, Dr. Steve Sklotsky. He's again sort of ex-Quintilian and currently sits on number of board of director of many contract research organizations, biopharmaceutical companies based in the US. And I think these individuals brought me from that small village to what I'm. May I please request everyone to, I'm going to mute all the lines. Okay, and Dr. Rakesh, I have mute all the lines, and just wanted to make sure if you can still hear me, you can use the chat function and let me know, because I think there was a bit background noise.
Yes, sir. Continue.
Thank
please.
you very much. So I think, with that note, what I want to do, we want to make this in the next 50 minutes very interactive. And I know we have challenge. We are, all of us are, sitting in almost like 120 different locations. But I also want to use that as an opportunity. So please use your chat function, and using that chat function, ask me any questions, as well as you can, share your thoughts when I ask some questions. If my voice is not audible, please use that. Dr. Rakesh also, please verbalize in case if I can't hear. So these are the topics which we are going to cover, sort of small things in terms of the clinic. What is this clinical research about? What is and what is not clinical research? We will also see what are the career opportunities in clinical research. Then move into qualification and skills required, and then also understand, is my current qualification good enough, or are there any skill gaps? And if there are any skill gaps, which those skill gaps are? And then, if somebody is really passionate to enter into clinical research, how you can fill in those gaps. And I'm happy to take some question answers as we go along. So that's sort of the flow we will go ahead. Now, let me sort of, usually I have conducted some poll questions. I didn't get time, but I want to ask you a question. In your opinion, for COVID-19 related deaths, do you all know how many deaths occurred in the globe or in India because of COVID as of today? And you can just write any figure in the chat function. I'm just going to give you just 15, 20, maybe 30 seconds, and then see, what are your views. So if you can please just use your chat function and just let everyone know how many deaths might have occurred because of COVID so far in the last year and a half or 2 years. please use your chat function and start typing. Okay, somebody has said 385,000, 3,85,167 in India. Very, very good. Excellent. Probably anyone would like to say anything globally? Any idea how many deaths might have occurred globally because of COVID? Okay, let's move ahead. So I think this is an excellent start, and you are absolutely right. I think if you see the globally, we are currently around 30. You can see this number here, close to 3.8 million or 38 lakh deaths occurred because of COVID. It's a huge number. If I just look at specifically for India, I'm just going to minimize my chat function. Give me a second. If you just look at specifically for India, I think someone had said exactly correct. And these are the figure as of today morning, just a couple of hours back, 3,85,000. Now, it just shows maybe, unfortunately, India has contributed close to 10% of those deaths. Still, I think India is not sort of number one. You still have the highest number of deaths occurred in the US. Now, this puts the question in your mind, and I think this is where all of us starts thinking: is the COVID-19 major killer of the cause of death globally? So, what are your thoughts? Do you believe COVID has killed more people in globe or in India, or there is something else? What do you all think? Again, please use your chat function and see, if you think COVID is a major killer or you think otherwise. And I'm just going to give another 10 seconds. Do you all believe COVID is a major killer, or you think no? You can just say yes, no. Probably you're taking time, and I think Aditi, thank you. You think COVID is a major killer? I think someone, Shingote is saying commodities are major killer. Pratiksha Jadhav, you are saying yes. Pranali, you are saying yes, COVID is major killer. Good. So I think let's move on. And I think this is where I would like to sort of burst that myth. All of us, we still think COVID is a major killer. And let me throw you some real statistics. Again, that statistics I pulled out just a couple of hours ago. And as you can see, this is the statistics of 2017, very reliable, comes from Our World Data. It's a renowned statistics organization. And as you see, this is the data for about 4 years old, but I'm also going to have the more latest data. So as you can see in this data, there are about 56 million deaths occurred in year 2017 globally. Out of that, 17 million deaths. And when I say, I know this million figure, which we don't use, but 170 lakh deaths occurred just because of cardiovascular related disease, which is something like stroke, you can say ischemic heart disease, those kind of deaths. So that's the major killer. Cancer related deaths up close to 10 million, which is almost like 100 lakh. So I think you can see now, and of course, this is like data of last 4 years old. But during that time, even if you see COVID related deaths, there are about 38 lakh. It doesn't come into the top 10 diseases. And I think this is where, if you ask yourself honestly with this solid data, Corona-19 is not the major killer. Even today, there are many more, sort of diseases. They are the major disease burden, not just for the globe, but also for India. Now, let me throw you the same statistics, and you will ask me, Bhavsai, you're talking about this world, but what about India? So again, if you just see 3.9 million deaths because of COVID today versus 17 million deaths just because of one disease. So again, what I'm trying to say, COVID is not the major killer. Let me go and show you the data for India 2017. Again, if you look at the cardiovascular disease, 2.6 million deaths. It is about 26 lakh deaths just because of one particular disease, that is cardiovascular, either it is stroke or ischemic heart disease. Now compare that with Indian figure, 0.38 million. So which is like 3.8 lakh. Now this doesn't this look sort of as a complete surprise to you? There are like 10 times more killer diseases that world is grappling with, and I'm not saying we should ignore, but I think that's the disease burden, and everyone feels COVID-19 is major cause of concern for us. Probably yes, but if you really look at the statistics, there is something else. I also looked at very recent data which was published in December, and in this you will see and this is just 1 year data. There are about 55 million deaths, so like 550 lakhs, 5.5 crore deaths in year 2019, and as you can see in this, 16% of those occurred just because of ischemic heart disease, 11% stroke, and again if you see out of those 5.4 million deaths, top 10 deaths top 10 deaths contributes 55% of the total deaths. And I think can somebody, I think whoever is using, please keep your phone on mute. I'm just going to mute everyone. Okay. Dr. Rakesh, hopefully you can still hear me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thank you. So what I'm again trying to say, just in year 2019, we had this 55 million deaths. Of course, Corona didn't start in 2019, but even if you look at current Corona's whole burden, about those 3.8 million deaths over a period of 2 years, and if I just divide that by 2, it's like about 1.4 or 1.3 million deaths, and that will not still come into those top 10 causes of deaths globally. And I think this is really hard data. Again, I'm not ignoring COVID, but I'm just putting you some real hard statistics and just saying there are many other diseases. Now, why I'm telling all of that? I think this is where the field of clinical research starts, and this is where I think on one hand, this is the huge burden. It is the critical unmet medical need to save lives and of healthy, productive years of the human being. And this is where we need to do more and more research to bring therapies and medicines, not just again for COVID. There are many other things, and that is where I have seen this clinical research field is growing fast. Last year, you have seen, most of those industries like the airline industry, you talk about hospitality industry, you talk about various, the information and IT related industry. They took a big hit because, they couldn't work. The economy was going down. People were not able to travel. And I know one of my friend who works in British Airways. Almost those British Airways aircrafts, close to like 1,000 aircrafts are grounded more than a year now. And many people who used to earn sort of quite handsome salaries working as a pilot, unfortunately they have lost their jobs. This is the only industry I have seen. I have been super busy last year, spending almost like close to 18, 19 hours a day, working on some of this clinical research program. Again, not just for COVID, but many other things. And especially because of COVID, we had urgent need to bring those vaccines into the world market. We ended up spending more time. And of course, it is not 9-to-5 job, but the again point I'm saying, our field, personally, I believe is never going to die. Till the time there is life on Earth, we are still going to survive. And I think this is something we all should be proud of. In addition to earning that, everyone's salary, you're doing something to the mankind. You're doing something to the society, and something you should be very, very proud of. Again, I'm not going into the details in terms of what clinical research is. I'm pretty sure you are all familiar with those phase 1, phase 2, phase 3 clinical trials. But that's the and of course if you are interested, I'm happy to spend maybe sometime maybe the next lecture on talking a little deeper on that. But this field of clinical research, again, clinical trial, it ranges between like 10 to 15 years. And out of close to 1,000 compound which enters into phase 1, the success rate is probably 1. So, you start with some 1,000 compounds and you will end with one effective therapy at the end of maybe 10 to 15 years. And I think that's unfortunately success rate. That is the reason, why, there are so many still unmet medical needs. But at the same time, that brings you as a clinical research professional an opportunity to make a career. And as I said, if you're passionate about it, this is the field that you can seriously think of. I just want to talk to you about, the difference between clinical research and clinical practice. And this is something, last week, as Dr. Jain was mentioning, I was speaking on behalf of one charity organization in the UK. And there is a lot of myths right now. People are saying, is this COVID vaccine safe? How on earth, on one hand, you're saying, it takes about 10 years to conduct research. And this vaccine just came in 6 months. And somebody saying, in fact, just last night, I was contacted by one of my close relatives saying that it looks like the government wants to reduce the population, so this vaccine is going to make everyone important. So we will not be able to sort of produce our next generation. And somebody saying probably like, this vaccine is not safe. Somebody saying, this sort of vaccine is going to cause more deaths. And I think this is all, quite honestly, the myth. And I just want to give you the difference between clinical research and clinical practice. So as you know, clinical research is an experiment. So all these vaccines which have gone, they have gone through vigorous testing, and then only they have been produced, and they come to the clinical practice, wherein once this is an established treatment, that established treatment is given to the the patients. And therefore, I personally believe these vaccines have been tested on thousands and thousands of patients before it came into the market. Of course, that the research has been done speedily, but why it happened? Again, if you look at the coronavirus, is not a new virus, or it is not like, if I see the family of coronavirus, it is not something is unknown to the scientists. You talk about SARS disease, or you talk about MERS, or you talk about influenza. So this is the family of virus, and their next new child is COVID-19 or the coronavirus 2019. So scientists knew about this. There was a lot of trust globally. There is a lot of funding available, and using the technology, we were able to expedite that clinical research. And that's why I think the world was able to produce, these pharma companies were able to produce this vaccine. Now, remember, this vaccine has been given emergency use approval by United States FDA, by MHRA, the UK regulatory agency, even by Indian regulatory authorities. What does that mean? We have found this effective, safe. We have also found this vaccine effective in some vaccines are 95% effective, some are 70% effective. So therefore, we still want to collect that additional data, and they have given this emergency use approval in the light of this pandemic. And as these vaccines are administered, we are collecting that data, and it is analyzed every single hour, every single, and then seeing, are we seeing any safety issues? And if they are, they're immediately addressed. So just an example, you will see the AstraZeneca vaccine, there are about 16 deaths reported globally. But, like if you look at those deaths, they were into those people with underlying conditions. And, even if you look at the, any other medicine you take, like, maybe you take ranitidine or paracetamol, and if you look at their leaflet, you will still find a warning, this particular drug may cause, complications, and that complication is, 1 in million. So again, it is not something a unestablished treatment or unestablished vaccine is being given. And as you see that more and more data, it is giving more assurance to the regulators, to the pharma company, these vaccines continues to be safe. So that's again, and that's another point. This clinical research is very controlled. Nothing comes out unless the clinical research find it is safe and effective. And of course, this is approved by the regulatory authorities. The clinical research talks, as I said, it is done to establish safety and efficacy. And once it is established, the clinical practice, then it use that therapy to treat the disease. So that's sort of the difference between clinical research and clinical practice in a simple term. I hope, you will find this to educate, your friends, your family members when they talk about, some of this. Even I heard, saying that, what does this mean, 95% effectiveness? Why there cannot be vaccine, which is 100% effective? And it is not that. You will see, if you just talk about the meningitis vaccine, or in our childhood, all of us, we have received that diphtheria, tetanus vaccine. And if you go and research their effectiveness, none of the vaccines are 100% effective. What does that mean? Because it depends on your biology, it depends on your ethnicity, it depends on your age, it depends on your food. So sometimes there is going to be failure. But when you say 95% effective, that means in 95% of the cases, this vaccine is going to be effective. Maybe those remaining 5%, you will still have COVID, but most likely those symptoms of COVID are going to be less compared to not having those vaccines. And I think that is an awareness as a pharmacist. I humbly urge all of you to spread that. And when people start talking about those rumors, we haven't found any evidence. And if that evidence is found, I think immediately, I'm sure those regulatory authorities across the globe, they will bring those evidence, and you will see, you may have heard some of those examples in the past. Some of the molecules were withdrawn from the market because they were not found something safe, or more effective treatment is available now. I'm just going to take a pause here and just see again a quick check in terms of, do you think, are you following me? Are you enjoying my speech? Or you think I'm talking something irrelevant? And again, please share your feedback on the chat function. I'm just going to check the chat. Does this all make sense to you? And again, you can just share your thoughts on the chat function. Hopefully, Doctor, I'm still audible and not speaking to myself. So again, I just want to make sure. Thank you, Pranjal. Thank you, Aditi. Informative session. I hope, yeah. So, Dr. Rakesh, you're saying my voice is sometimes disturbing. So, okay, I'll try again, speak closer to the mic. Let's go ahead. Now, what I want to do, you have seen the sort of the global disease burden. You also have seen whether COVID is major killer. You also have some idea of the clinical research, how it is conducted, and how it is differentiated from the clinical sort of practice. I also want to give you some other information. The clinical research transformation, the clinical research is moving very fast. And as I said, we do not have time, to spend in the clinical research for 10 to 15 years, because, more and more lives are dying. It is causing damage to the society, not just from the, the life perspective, but also we are losing jobs. We are losing, the economy has gone down globally. So I think, we are trying to find how research can be done faster, but at the same time safer. And therefore, you will hear this concept of technology bringing in the risk-based monitoring, virtual trial. And just I think last year, I helped one of the pharmacy students to sort of prepare a presentation on what is the use of artificial intelligence and machine learning in clinical research. And if I have to give you just an example how this is changing so fast, until like 4 years back, there used to be a concept. Clinical research is conducted in the hospital, where these tens and hundreds of thousands patients worldwide in each of that hospital go to the hospital, and then they participate in a clinical trial. And that is the traditional way of conducting clinical trial. And now when I say how the technology is helping, now instead of patient visiting hospital to participate in clinical trial, clinical trials are now coming to the patient's house to get patient participate in the study. What does that mean? You have now technology coming in. The patients can, review informed consent using technology. They can, they can get that information through internet on their mobiles. Patient will have wearable devices where some of their vital parameters can be checked, and they can be pushed through the internet, and the data can be analyzed real time. That's just an example. Their laboratory, somebody can visit patient's home, collect the lab samples, and it can be analyzed. Sometimes the patients are given those kits so they can test. Right now, the COVID kits are given here in the UK to us, and we can self-test if we have COVID or not. And it is just like quick 5-minute test. So I think this is where the technology is playing big role. And as you can see now, how that is helping to build, speed that clinical research. And in earlier days, what used to happen, patient would visit the hospital, doctor will enter the data in their medical notes, which will then transcribe maybe a few days later into the electronic case report form. That electronic case report form will be then analyzed by the pharmaceutical company. And we used to spend almost like 6-7 months, and now that is just happening almost instantaneously. As soon as patient enters that data in the diary, unanimously at the same time, it gets to the pharma company without, of course, divulging patient details. So the time, during those earlier days, it used to take 6 months, and now it is just happening in no time. And that's I hope you can imagine, that is where it is helping us to speed clinical research. And along with that, one more thing I want to say is how that is more important for India. If you look at my slide, and I'm just going to blow this slide a bit. Traditionally, only 5% of clinical research was done in Asia. I'm not talking about India. And if you look at the population of Asia, which has the populous countries of the world in the top 5 rank, like China, India, and Indonesia. And if you just put like China's 1.4, 1.5 billion population, India's 1.5, and Indonesia, probably we are contributing to close to 40 to 50% population of the world just in Asia. And this and then you can see only 5% of clinical research is done. So what does that mean? The research, and on the other hand, if you look at the America, where 50% of clinical research is done, their population is probably not even a couple of percentage. So the drug which is researched in these Western world, we are using that. And I think this is where sometimes you see that variation, that we need more diverse population to make sure that research is done and the drugs are becoming really effective. Our hit rate is better. And when I say with that earlier example, 1,000 products tested, only one gets succeed. That hit rate will be much closer, because then you are having more homogeneous population. And that is where clinical research is entering more and more into the Asian country. And there is a prediction, that 5% will go to probably 25%. And it is happening. Just another example, as I see, I can show you. I just read an article in the month of February, which was produced by one of the magazine. And they have sort of taken the survey from the biopharmaceutical companies, like big pharma companies, and they are establishing their clinical R&D center, increasing outsourcing to contract research organization, and that focuses more into the Asia region, because they have realized, Asia has, more diverse population. And at the same time, another advantage within Asia for us, because, this clinical research, you need, you have this technology. Sometimes, most of this electronic CRF, you need like, the English speaking population, especially for in terms of job opportunity. And I think this is where India has even more advantage compared to those Asian countries. Probably, I think you may or may not know, but English is not a language of communication. English is not the language of studying students in China. It is not the language of studying pharmacy in Japan. All that communication is studies are conducted in Chinese or Japanese language. And I think this is where they have that initial difficulty. Even though you are good in the knowledge, you cannot communicate. And therefore, some of these roles in clinical research, probably like not everyone can take it. And on the other hand, for country like India, where, and I saw some of the students, I think your English is probably, maybe 10, 15 times better than what it used to be when I joined clinical research. So I think you have fantastic opportunity, and that this is where within Asia, clinical research is coming more and more into India compared to China or other countries. And something which is, what does that mean? It is going to bring you more and more opportunities. This is just another article I read last week. Pfizer has published, sort of a publication, and then they have openly acknowledged, in order to have, sort of more diverse data, we need to have more diverse population. And that what it suggests, you need to be conducting clinical research in more homogeneous population. And I just want to show you, this is another data which I found on the US FDA website. And what does this say? They have looked at the number of patients included in the clinical trial during year 2015 to 2019. And during that time, and this is not just data from one company. So across all types of clinical trial, there were about 300,000 clinical trial participants enrolled into different trials. So it's like about 3 lakh patients. And within that, you will see, surprisingly, the white race population is about 76, Black American 7%, and you will see Asian population just 11%. So what does that mean? The drug which is tested on 76% white population being used by just 2% of the global population. And Asia, which has more, almost like close to 40% of the population, only 11% of the Asian patients were participating in the clinical trial. And I think this is where I think everyone is realizing that we need to have more homogeneous population. And I think I will go on to a number of examples, but hopefully this will convince you that this is something the best. You should give a pat on your back that you're into the best sort of profession. And within that profession, if you want to make career in clinical research, these are some of the evidences. I want to give you one more example. I just read this article yesterday. Amazon, it is jumping into healthcare telemedicine initiative. What does that mean? The companies like Amazon, Apple, they also realize healthcare space is coming in a big way, and they need sort of more homogeneous population. And they also need, it is also going to create a lot of job opportunities. And because of the English advantage, the number of students we produce in India, you can grab those opportunities not just in India but across the globe. Hopefully, I think this gives you some ideas in terms of opportunities. I have another slide just to show you the global clinical research market, $46.8 billion US, and it is increasing every year by 5%. And as you can imagine, because of that unmet medical needs, this is just going to increase. Despite we have another wave of COVID pandemic, you may have another disaster, you still need those medicines. And what does that mean? On the other hand, as I said, clinical research is moving into Asia, so it is going to increase more and more opportunities. However, I think what I also realized, based on my little bit of experience of last 25 years, there is still some big gap in the skills required or expected by the clinical research industry. And I think this is where, if you are passionate about clinical research, you can start thinking of filling in those gaps. I'm happy to give you a few pointers now, maybe in my next probably 10-15 minutes, then happy to take on those questions. But if you want to know more about how you can bridge in those gaps, we can have another session, and happy to share and happy to help you to see if someone is interested in making career in clinical research, how that gaps can be filled in. This is just an example to give you in terms of number. These are the contract research organizations sort of top 10, and this figure is slightly outdated. My own company, IQVIA, more than 70,000 employees now, and you can see the pace at which each company is growing. And you will see those numbers like Covance, Syneos, and these are global players probably, and there are probably they capture close to 40% global clinical research market. There is still another 60% by many other CROs. The point I'm driving here, if you take example of Covance or IQVIA, we have 70,000 employees globally in about 150 countries. How many employees IQ has employed just in India? Do you have any specific idea, any number you think? Do you think, maybe 1%, 2%? How many employees you think IQVIA has in India at this point of time out of 70,000? Can you use your chat function and just let me know? Thank you, Aditi, Pranjal, for that feedback. But how many employees do you think IQA is currently employing in India out of 70,000? And you can put any number. And I just want to give you that example in real statistics, just to see how that translates. So please use your chat function and let me know. You can just guess. There is no right or wrong answer. 1,000, 2,000, 4,000, 10,000 plus, Pranali. Okay. Any other guesses? And just IQA is a global company. It is headquartered in the US, and it originated in the US. So again, just to give you, out of 70,000 workforce, we have close to 20,000 employees just residing in India. So you can roughly say it is close to like 25% of IQA's employee based in one country, and remaining 75% are located in those 149 countries globally. So I think, and as Dr. Jain mentioned, when Quintal started in India, we were about 10 people, and that was in 96. So now we have, I think, almost like close to maybe like 25 years. In 25 years, that 10 people went on to close to 20,000. And it is not just IQVIA. There are many other companies have entered, and they are also contributing equal number. And it will just give you the magnitude of opportunities that are coming in your way. And in addition to clinical research organization, it has also increased opportunity into the hospitals, as well as in the pharmaceutical company themselves, because they are also making India as a base for the their clinical research program. And this slide just talks you about various opportunity. What are those roles in the clinical research? So you could start as like clinical research associate or clinical leader. You can move into, as you get more experience, into project management, regulatory affairs. You can then go into medical services. If somebody wants to be customer facing, you can be into business development, as well as if you are really interested about, working with the patients. There are clinical research hospitals where you could start as a clinical research coordinator. Somebody, last week I was taking session, and somebody said, this requires a lot of travel, and you are saying this is not 9-to-5 job. So I am a working mother, I have 2 kids at home. Can I do this job? And my answer is absolutely yes, because there are some roles which gives you that flexibility, splitting your hours, have that dialogue with the company that you work with, and just say like, maybe I just want to split my 8 hours, maybe like 3 hours in the morning, take a couple of hours break, and then work. Maybe then take some break in the evening to prepare food, and then work another hour. And I think that also provides some flexibility with this sort of the clinical research industry. So I think now you have seen the clinical research. You have seen the opportunities. Hopefully, I have given you sort of a flavor. I just want to spend next 5 minutes, and then I will take some questions. So, what are the skills required? And these are sort of skills. So, life science degree, pharmacy, the medicine, the B.Pharm, M.Pharm, PharmD. I think all those are excellent qualifications. And I think, as I said, English is our language of studying for these professional studies. So you have that added advantage to compare to the other Asian countries. And this is additional skills that you need in terms of the knowledge how clinical trials are conducted, the knowledge of good clinical practice, the knowledge how the patient safety and data integrity is protected. What is the role of ethics committees? What is the role of technology? You all the time hear the concept of artificial intelligence, machine learning, lean sigma. You talk about Kaizen principle. So you also talk about what is the difference between clinical research requirement of the United States, USFDA, versus ICGCP, versus MHRA regulatory body in UK, versus European Medicine Agency in Europe, versus like the PDMA, the Japanese Regulatory Authority, and the CDSCO, the Indian Regulatory Authority. I think that's the skill gap. And I'm sorry to say, because I did a lot of research in the last Yes, and like a couple of years back, I gave similar lecture at King's College in London to the pharmacy students. I have given similar lectures in Singapore when I was in Singapore, and unfortunately, I think most of these additional things are not taught in the university, and I think that's the skill gap currently I see. In order to fill in that skill gap, and I'm not saying without these skills you cannot enter. You still can enter into clinical research field, but if you have these skills acquired, that will help you to make the entry into the right role into clinical research, and also make that faster career. So I think that's I moved it quite fast, but this is something as I put it into a perspective. You are an academic student, are quite passionate about moving into clinical research, but at the same time you have the skill gaps, and there are some sort of clinical research curriculum courses you can go into, and sort of educate yourself. I also have sort of put together a, maybe on my next slide, and I'm just looking at the watch, but quickly going through one more slide and I will stop here. So there are some sort of clinical research courses I have done comparison, and if you are more interested, I can talk more about this. How you can find the right course, which one is the right course, and something I'm happy to sort of, help you with that. And at the same time, it is also my passion. I want to contribute to the generation of future clinical research professionals. So today's talk is just to give you a flavor of realizing those opportunities, how you can make entry, how you can envisage. But at the same time, let me remind you, this is not a 9-to-5 job. Unless you are passionate, you shouldn't enter into this field. And when I say passionate, it will give you a lot of sort of satisfaction. It will give you a lot of progression, career opportunities. But do not join just because I have this my 25 years has given me. It has helped me to travel around the globe. Seeing some of the most beautiful places, and it has also moved me and my family from one country to another. I'm just going to again mute everyone. Give me a second. And Dr. Rakesh, can you still hear me? Dr. Rakesh?
Yes, Jose, I can hear you.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. So I'm just, I have put everyone on mute. So I think, what I was trying to, if you're passionate about it, and probably Dr. Jain will know, the kind of person I was that time, even when I still remember when I joined Quintas, and my first day, the telephone rang on my desk, and I knew this was a global company. And I just had that apprehension in my mind. Will I be able to speak with the person? Because this person is calling from the US or Europe. And I started running from my desk and let somebody else take that phone call. Because that's sort of maybe like the upbringing I had, and I was not confident myself. But then, as I said, thanks to these individuals, Dr. Fazan, engineer, Dr. Nargis Mahalakshmala, probably they saw something in me. And literally, I remember then, I took one call, and that call was from one of my Quintal's colleague is in France, and she was trying to speak, and I realized it is not their first language, and probably I can speak a lot better than them. Maybe I'm not using better words, but that's okay. I can communicate well, and I think that really gave me that confidence. And then I realized probably I can even manage some of these individuals whose first language is English. And it took me, from that, that humble beginning in a small bungalow, what Dr. Jain mentioned, with a clinical trial assistant to manage people in India, then manage people in Asia Pacific, moving into Singapore, and now into this global role where my role has even expanded, looking into the strategy and communicate your ideas, which has impact not just to the organization like IQVIA, but brings those some sort of breakthrough concepts wherein you can move clinical research faster. As I gave an example, moving that traditional clinical trial to what we say that decentralized clinical trial, wherein you use those technology, operationalized concept of artificial intelligence, machine learning, and I think that's where I spend time, and I want to contribute that to the next sort of future of clinical research professionals. And if my contribution can help bringing those professionals, making their career, and at the same time, more important, bringing those new medicine into the market, I would have played some of my part. And I also closely relate that to me. I lost my father because of stroke about 10 years back. I could not save him that time, but I am now seeing there are some breakthrough therapies available for stroke. And, I have contributed, my contribution is probably, maybe 1% or maybe, minute. I'm just going to mute. So thank you. So, my contribution has been probably negligible, but I still have that sense of satisfaction, even though I was not able to save my father. With these new medicines where I have contributed maybe minutely, we are able to save, probably, somebody else's father, somebody else's mother, somebody else's brother. I have been, of course, because of the confidential reasons we cannot explain, but, because of some of my minute contribution in vaccine studies, I can see the number of deaths have come down drastically. It is great sense of satisfaction. And, in addition to that, earning, a salary, it keeps me on the move that I'm doing something for the society. Even though, I'm spending my 18 hours or even my weekend talking to you, I feel happy. And that's the passion. I hope, you will correlate what I said in the beginning. With that note, I know I spoke to you a lot, but I just want to speak just for another 2 minutes. I'm going to post you a survey if it is okay with you. So I will post this link into the chat function. Please complete this survey for my own sake, and it will just take 2 minutes. And that survey just to talk to you about, just to evaluate my own presentation. Would you like to hear more about clinical research in future? And any comments that you would like to provide to me so that I can take them in my future sessions. So I'm going to post that link into the chat function. Please download that and complete that after the seminar. I would really appreciate. And then in case if you want to hear anything about clinical research, I have started this GCP Compass Clinical Research new channel. And in that new channel, I keep on, posting some of the articles. So in case, and this is sort of free. So in case if you want to subscribe, it is based on the Telegram application. So I will also post this link. And just wanted to show you, when you click onto that link, it will, either you can download this Telegram software on your mobile, and or right now you can just look at onto the desktop, and you will see something like this. And if you want to pre-review the channel, you will find some of the information that I have posted in that, like the International Clinical Research Day, which was celebrated on May 2021. And then I have just written some blog, then added some information. So, this is just an information. If you are interested, feel free and subscribe to that. I'm going to post that as well into the chat function. And the last, so that's all I had to say. I'm going to pause there, and allowing you to ask any questions. So Dr. Rakesh, maybe, let us see, how you would like to take. Are there any function on the chat you would like to ask? Or is there anyone want to ask live questions? So thank you. And I think as we speak, I will just post this link into the chat function.
Thank you so much, sir. I request all the participants to post your questions in question box.
And I have just posted the link of my survey, and I'm going to post the next link about the new channel. So feel free to save it, keep it with you, because I think once you are out from the this session, this link will go away. So I have put down both links. And let me see if there are any questions.
Dear students, if you have any question, please write it down in chat box. Bhausar Patil sir, I have received one question.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah. What is the difference between an observational clinical research study and a clinical trial?
Excellent question. Very good. And what I'm going to do, Let me take you back to my first slide. So, yeah, can you see my screen? Can somebody confirm you can see my screen, please?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We can see.
Okay. So on this slide, I'm just going to blow this up. So you will see that actual clinical research, it starts from the phase one. So and in the phase one, you look at the safety of the study, the safety of the drug, not the efficacy. So what does it mean? If this vaccine is being produced, is the vaccine safe? And that's the first part. Once that question is addressed, you go into phase two, wherein in addition to safety, you look at also at what dose this is safe. And once that is established, you go into phase three, where in addition to safety and dosing, efficacy. Now I know this vaccine is safe. I know at particular dose this is safe. Now I need to know if it is effective in reducing the transmission. Then next question in phase three is addressed. Do I know if it is effective for white population, black population, Asian? Is it effective for say adults, or do I need to exclude some people like with underlying conditions such as maybe stroke or other infections such as HIV, diabetes? So those are the questions answered, and this is all about clinical research. Once that is done, then there is a FDA review, regulatory review, they are approved. And if you go to that phase four, which is where I think somebody asked that question, the observational. Now this drug is exposed into the market. It is not in the controlled environment. So everyone is taking that. And I think then you collect that real data. And that is what is called as an, in a way, observational research, or it is called as phase four clinical trial, or it is called as post-approval surveillance to look at, how this drug is effective. Are we collecting any additional data? And during that time, you will also see, again, relating to AstraZeneca, when they found, some of these cases of death, just to be extra cautious, they advise the AstraZeneca vaccine, probably try not to give below 30 years of age, because some of those deaths were associated with the younger population. So here in the UK, the Moderna or Pfizer BioNTech vaccine is given to everyone below 30 years, and above 30 years, it's everyone, but primarily above 30 years, it's AstraZeneca. So this is additional information gathered through that, when the drug was, the vaccine was exposed. So hopefully that address your questions in terms of what is observational and how it differentiates from clinical research. Is that clear?
Yes, sir, it is clear. Sir, I have received another question regarding the phases. Yeah. So what is phase 5 clinical trials?
To be honest, and I could be wrong, but at least based on my little bit of knowledge in the clinical research for the last 25 years, I haven't heard term called as phase 5. It is more, you have preclinical, which is, the lab. So you have animal studies or in the lab. Then you have the healthy human volunteers, where, you study on the human volunteers in the phase 1 study. Exception is cancer. All the cancer therapies are studied actually on the cancer in the phase 1. But, then you have there about 30, 40 subjects. Then phase 2, phase 3, there, it is conducted over weeks or 100 months, and you have maybe 100, 200 subjects. Phase 3 is, again, you have more like subjects, and it depends. For cancer study, it could be like 300, 400 patients in 4 or 5 different protocols. Versus in vaccine type of studies or cardiovascular, there are like 10 or maybe 40, 50,000 patients studied in 3, 5 different protocols. And then phase 4 is sort of, the number increases, but there is nothing like phase 5 that I heard of.
Okay, thank you, sir. I guess it wasn't an extraordinary question. Sir, one more question. It is actually related to our topic only. What could be the possible salary for fresher?
Okay, very excellent question. I think keep on those questions coming in. The question did not be extraordinary. There cannot be a silly question. Probably there can be a silly answer from me. But yeah, a joke apart. In terms of the salary, I also want to remind you, if you're really passionate, and again, it is with me, probably Dr. Jain would agree with me. When I joined this industry, I did not look how much salary I'm getting. Because I was passionate, I saw a huge potential. I also saw I was surrounded by the right people. I started giving myself in terms of how I can contribute. I don't speak well, okay? How I can improve my communication. I have done that. I don't know how to write good letter to the investigator. I do not know how to write good email. How I can learn on that. Probably I don't know about GCP. I do not know about ethical ethics committees. How I can learn that. So it came as a part of passion. I never looked at how much money it is going to give to me. And believe me, when I put that passion into work, without even asking that, can I get a raise, or I just, I just got the growth opportunity. When I say growth opportunity in terms of monetary benefit and in terms of job satisfaction, and just to translate that those growth opportunities, when I moved from Ahmedabad to Mumbai, I think it was almost like the simple things like my transportation, my family relocation was taken care of. When I moved from India to Singapore, I had my 7-year-old son, my family, and we had to find our house, schoolings, everything was sort of supported very well, including some of the insurance. And then coming to the UK, even including those visas, everything. And if you put that cost together, probably that will be 100 times more than what what my salary is today. So I think that's the part. Please do not join just because this will give handsome salary. On the other hand, now coming to the topic, this can once you acquire those skills, you can range anywhere between say 2 to 3, maybe like 4 up to 5 lakh salary, and as I said, once you prove your potential that you're passionate about it, sky's the limit. And when I say sky is the limit, really, really sky is the limit, because your opportunities will go just exponentially. And I just want to put any particular figure on that. And if you get exposed yourself into a global market, you can be me or far more than me. I hope that answers the question whosoever has asked. But if not, I'm happy to elaborate more on that.
Okay, thank you, sir. I guess we have done with the questions. Still,
No,
if
no,
and
I have
yeah,
a
yes, sir,
question.
please. Yes, sir, please.
And I have a very typical question which has nothing to do with this thing. It is a typical selfish question which I am posing to Rosaheb. Rosaheb, what is the entry level in your CRO which is based in, I will not call it a CRO now, your company based the Indian part. We are looking to place our students, and are fresh B farms welcome, or you need qualified people? That is, and if fresh B farms are welcome, can we have a campus drive for our students who will be passing out in 2 months maximum? They will be getting the results.
Yeah. So I think this is the common question I do get asked. If I'm BPharm, is BPharm qualification better? Should I be doing MPharm? Or if I PhD, and if a PhD student and BPharm student, they are getting entry, then
you are not audible.
Can you hear me now?
Can you speak little bit loudly?
Just a minute. Give me a second. Is it better?
Yeah, now it's better.
I'm getting an echo. Give me a second. I'm going to mute everyone once again.
Okay.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
No, sir.
Okay. Little bit louder.
Okay, I think.
Yeah, now okay was okay, audible.
Give me a second, please. Is this better now?
No, sir, no, not audible.
Oh, Can you hear me okay now?
Yes, sir, please.
Okay, sorry. So I'm just showing this slide on the screen, and on this slide, first question, I think, as I said, B Farm or what I was saying, B Farm, M Farm, or Farm D, PhD, I think those qualifications are good. Now, next question, you will say, if it is B Farm and then if M Farm, how you differentiate between the two? And I think this is.
I am asking selfishly. I am not interested in how will you differentiate whether my students are at B Farm level, entry level. They do they stand a chance, and if they stand a chance for entry in your organization, how you can help us in organizing a campus or something for them. At least a couple of bright students, 2-3 students can be placed, because it is a very lucrative field.
Yeah. So I think, thank you, Doctor. Now, I think definitely everyone stands a chance. And again, I will repeat, please allow me to repeat. B Farm, yes, that is good qualification to enter into. If you are M Farm, that I think it will, even though, it will help you to speed the clinical research, but that doesn't mean B Farm is not good. Every single qualification is good, especially B Farm. And in terms of my next question, before I answer that question about the campus, you need to be passionate. Remember again that, and I think in terms of, you need to sort of have that willingness. Yes, I'm going to give my everything, and when I say everything, this role can be taxing. Believe me, when I joined this company, I used to travel like 25 days a month, and it is not for leisure, and it comes with a lot of sacrifice from your family front. So think about that. Definitely yes. In terms of campus, I don't know, Dr. Jain, if I can do that, but because I'm not sort of associated with our Indian office, but I'm happy to take that question back. And sort of, if there is such drive going on, we'll definitely keep you updated. And in addition to that, my again urge is, especially with regard to this communication part or the other clinical research, start, if you are passionate about it, start bringing awareness about some of these things I explained in terms of what is this good clinical practice, the role of ethics committee, the familiarity with the environment. And I think this can come through several ways, by you own studying this or getting exposed. And if you have that, you are increasing your chances. And basically, if there are, say, 10 candidates aspiring for 2 positions, B Farm, M Farm, qualification is definitely good. So everyone will have that, suppose. But if you have that added information, it will help you to put ahead of that competition and grab that opportunity.
But you are not able to help us in this.
No, I think basically
you can pass on some of your peers situated in India.
Yeah.
You can put us in touch with that. You can give a good word for us, and then
yes.
I will do the job.
Yeah, and I think that's what sort of I said, like I will.
Your Bangalore office, like I will also talk to Himanshu.
Yeah.
But when somebody from the same company talks, they will take it seriously.
Sure. And I think one thing also, if I may, Dr. Jain, because IQ, definitely, I think it is world's largest clinical research organization. But if you take example of other CROs that I mentioned here, the Syneos, Covance, they also have the largest base of employees in India.
No. We are trying, but here we have our Bhausaheb, na? He will help us. That is what I'm telling you. There we don't know anything. Like I am going to try with Shiv Prakash for his Synthon.
Yeah.
Maybe he may be having something with Covance also some time.
Yeah. Okay. And only reason I think, Dr. Jain, my only sort of, and of course, my personal feedback, when I interview some candidates, I think I used to do that in India as well as here. I think many times I have seen people then, see the advertisement in Times of India at that time, and, it just states, join this curriculum, you will start earning 5-figure salary. And people try and join with that intention. And sometimes they realize, that is not what I wanted to do. You may start earning good salary, but it will not help you to grow. So again, please keep that in mind. It's that it has a lot of potential. You can grow if you're willing to work hard. Definitely, this is the profession that you want to be in.
So basically, we will be talking personally. If you pass on some contact or somebody, and if you also put a word, then in coming month we can have a campus like.
Sure.
Definitely, at least a couple of, there are some people who are definitely going for post-graduation. There are some people who have got some internship and they may continue there. But my endeavor will be like, this is my first batch.
Yeah.
Okay. In earlier college, we used to have beautiful campus drives, 16, 17, and in Siaghad, I worked for almost 16 years.
Right.
That was a developed college. This is my first college, so I am trying to place maximum or 100% placement I want, and my batch size is small. This first batch is my only 50 intake.
Yeah. And I think something, if you can allow me to say, Dr. Jain, I watched the initial 20-minute that video very carefully, and I think, of course, in my humble opinion, I'm not sure, but based on what I've seen, I think you're doing exactly the right thing. It is just not that the technical or theoretical knowledge that you're giving. When I see some of the students talking about even expressing themselves, I think that is what is also equally important. Will definitely put you ahead of the competition. And if you put that passion as well as in addition to the technical ability, how you are able to express and communicate with others. And that's I haven't seen that with many other institutes.
I'm happy to tell you that that video on our YouTube, actually our YouTube channel, we post all the videos. Your today's talk will also be posted by tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and we will send you the link. We have that type of understanding. We also will put it on Facebook and Insta and Twitter and all. But that particular video has got many likes actually. Many people have many views and likes. It was prepared, and somebody also put some inputs. We have one very good person called Dr. Shantam Shukla, IIM Ahmedabad. And he also advised that you should put some clips. So I got my friends who are there, Synchron is there, Farm Alliance is there, is there. So they talk about this thing, and they have come here and they've seen also, and they know me also very well. So I have like showcased what we are, tried to showcase it. And I can assure you that the students of this KKWAG brand will not let anybody down. They will definitely work hard. I'm also very happy to tell you, though this is our first year of inception, one of our students, she has nationally ranked in the GPAT. Out of 47, we have whosoever appeared, all 47 have not appeared, but 10 people cleared GPAT, and out of which one has got a top rank in top 100 at national level. So we have some very good students also.
And I think very, very happy to hear. And I think this is where I see, and now I'm comparing India with like other countries like UK or Australia, talk about Singapore. And this is one of the unique advantage that we have. We are hard worker, we are sort of go-getter, and we adjust in any particular situation. And now just to explain you, if somebody like it is very unusual here to work after 5 p.m. Because everyone have their own social network, families. But if somebody asks me about, there is something you have to work, I think I'm quite flexible, and that flexibility comes because of my culture, for the place where I have grown, and that has helped me to grow in this organization. So, and the same is applicable to everyone.
So thank you, and actually I will ask Dr. Rakesh to take it to completion, and I will request Bhausaheb, I have a meeting with trustees, so I will take your leave, and I will get connected directly with you tomorrow. Okay.
No problem.
Yes, sir.
And just I think, please just a couple of minutes, please complete that feedback. I think it won't take more than 2 minutes.
Definitely. Amrutkar sir, please.
Yes, sir. It is shared. It is already shared, sir.
Yes, sir. No, not only share,
Yes,
get
sir.
it done, and then
Yes,
we
sir,
have
yes,
to give
sir.
it because he
Yes.
has given me the responsibility. I have to reply to him.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Huh?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay,
So
sir.
thank you.
Thank
I will
you.
take a leave. Okay.
Thank you so much, Doctor.
Thank you. Thank you.
Madam, please continue.
Yes, sir. Again, I ask all the delegates to fill the feedback form. The link is shared in chat box. Now, I would like to thank you, Mr. Bhausat Patil, sir, for this wonderful and informative session. Sir, you have explained very well about clinical research organization and various departments associated with it, along with the good clinical practices and skills and qualification required to enter in it. I'm sure after this session, our student will able to figure out various opportunities in clinical research. Now, we will move to a vote of thanks session. I request Professor V.N. Tambe Madam to give vote of thanks.
Thank you, Madam. On behalf of KK Wagh College of Pharmacy, Nasik and KK Wagh Institute of Pharmacy, Chandori, I take this opportunity to propose vote of thanks. My heart fills with lots of gratitude and respect for our distinguished speaker, Mr. Bhausat Patil sir, for not only sparing his invaluable time for us to grace this program, but also for enlightening us with his commendable talk on the career opportunities in clinical research. Thank you so much, sir, for enlightening our thoughts and enhancing our understanding related to the topic. You have indeed put best of your efforts to make this webinar unforgettable one. Thank you, sir. We are thankful to our management, trustee, president, and secretary for their motivation and providing this platform and opportunity. I would like to thank Dr. K.S. Jain sir and Professor R.A. Hiroe sir for enthusiastic support. A special thanks to the organizing committee, teaching and non-teaching staff for their unflinching support and coordination. Our heartfelt thanks to our delegates for active participation. With these warm words and a kind message, we move to the end of today's webinar. Thank you.
Thank you once again.